Hey guys, good to see you. It is Wednesday morning. I thought that today would be a fun day to go through some data tools. Specifically, we're going to use market movers. I'm going to show you one way that I use it to kind of look through cards that have gone down in price as well as gone up in price to kind of figure out either buying or selling opportunities based on player, card set, etc. So definitely stay tuned. All right, guys, in a second, I'm going to move to the other screen where I can show you kind of my screen where I've got all the data on it. But if you are new here, please hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, the like button. We come out with just about daily content, mostly about sports cards, but definitely collectibles. And we talk about a lot of different subjects within it. So definitely stick with us. And if you want to try out these data tools, whether it be market movers or card ladder, I use both. I'm a customer of both and really enjoy both of these products. I've got affiliate links down in the video description, and I do get a small piece of that pie if you do sign up through those links, so definitely appreciate it. All right, guys, as we said, we are going to take a look at just some data in the Market Movers tool and just kind of one way that I use it that I really enjoy, kind of breaking down some of the different players, the different cards, where pricing has gone, where it's been, where it is now, and just try to figure out, or recently, and try to figure out where should I maybe look to make some different buying. What constitutes a buying opportunity, or what do I think, like, you know what, I'm just going to wait on this player, or has something gone up to where maybe it's a sell? It's a sell for me. So we're going to take a look at some data today. I have this filtered out where, and you can do this many different ways, but I have this filtered for basketball and football in a PSA 9, and I've got it rookie card only over here, you'll see, and then up to $500 is the threshold that I'm looking in. And so Market Movers has now north of 100,000 cards in their database. So you're searching a pretty vast database at this point. The tool has grown pretty dramatically. And like I said, there are many different ways to use this tool. This is just one way that I quickly can do searches to try to figure out where stuff is, at least, you know, a snapshot of where the market is for a particular player. Obviously, not every single card is going to be represented, and it's not going to represent every single sale, private sales, social media sales, etc. But still helpful to kind of get a gauge. It's a guide, if you will. All right, so we're looking at basketball and football cards in a PSA 9. We can always change this up. We can change it up in many different ways, but just because for affordability reasons, I mean, yeah, we can look at five-figure cards, but I think it's more kind of helpful for people to see more on kind of the lower end, $0 to $500, where things are. And I think this is interesting to look at too, because you look at some of these names, Pascal Siakam, Drew Lock. These are people that a year ago, everybody was really up on. I mean, Pascal, you know, for the Raptors, with the Raptors kind of doing their thing, you know, young talent. And look, he's still a good young talent. And I'm looking at the last 365 days here, and we can switch this up. I'll switch it up to the last 7 days as well in a little bit, but this just shows you over the last 365 days where this is kind of the average change of all the cards that are in the database for Pascal. And if you click on this, it'll then break it down into, okay, the Prism base and the population and the change that's occurred, the Silver Prism and the change, Optic Hollow, etc. So you can really kind of boil it down to which ones have fallen more and which ones could possibly be an opportunity. And look here, and look, there's some numbered cards, some more rare stuff that's actually seen a little bit of a rise. So, you know, it's interesting. It's not, you know, every single kind of card within a player nowadays has its own market, you know, in some capacity. So I just think that's interesting. So we'll go down here. Drew Lock, obviously, there's big question marks as to whether or not he's going to be a viable NFL starter. But man, a year ago, there was so much excitement around Drew Lock. And these are cards that have already come down quite a bit. These are just over the last, so this is from the last year. This is showing kind of as a whole, where these things have come down. And we'll look at a 7-day chart as well in a minute. But this shows you, look, and part of this too is populations have been moving up. A year ago, you didn't have the same sort of population on these cards. It wasn't 1,1700 for a Prism base and a PSA 9. Now, football cards have lower pops than basketball cards. They just do. They just don't get graded as much. There's not as much interest in football cards as there are basketball cards, at least modern, at this particular time. And you could argue that for vintage, too. Football just kind of lags behind basketball and baseball. So interesting, though, because when you look at pop reports, it kind of could present opportunities potentially. Kawhi Leonard is a very interesting case, man. The case of Kawhi Leonard, you look at just where his stuff has been and where it's, and where it's gone. That hoops in a PSA 9, for example, has been as low as $39, $40. It's been as high as $380. And Prism base, again, it's been as high as $2,300 and as low as $250. You're talking about massive gaps here. And Kawhi's just kind of the forgotten man. He's he's quiet and, doesn't really, he's got a funny laugh and, but as far as making waves in the NBA, as far as his personality, he just doesn't really do that. And it just affects his card prices. But it's interesting, though, because the guy's won 2 championships with 2 different teams. He is an amazing talent in the league, and he's still fairly young. I think he's only 30. I think Kawhi's only 30, maybe 31. He's still got some years left in him. He's an interesting player to follow for sure. You've got guys, think about all these guys like Kobe White, Brandon Clark, Porzingis, Tyler Hero. This is like a cluster of basketball prospects that people were looking towards as kind of who are those next kind of role players, those guys to step up and be stars in the league. And even Anthony Davis stuff is down. He was injured. The Lakers are bounced, and Anthony Davis is, when healthy, a top 5 player in the NBA. Let's not forget. So, this is interesting. Bam was, in the playoffs. He was in the finals last year, playing his butt off. He's a great talent too, a great young talent. Michael Thomas is probably going to be down because he's starting the year on the PUP for the Saints. As a Saints fan, I can attest to how frustrating that is. He just had surgery in June, so he's going to be out for the first, 4 or 5, maybe 6 games of the season. So that's certainly not helping his card prices. Lamar Jackson's been down. Gardner Minshew, of course, is going to be down with Trevor Lawrence now and Jax, and not even knowing if Gardner's going to start for a team. Steve Nash, so interesting. If you're a collector of some of these guys, it's an interesting time. Whether you're a collector or investor of these guys. Let's look at the last 7 days and see how it looks. So 7 days going down. You have Gary Payton, Sean Kemp. That's an interesting combo. What are the Supersonics on clearance these days? Scottie Pippen. If you're a collector of some of these guys, there are some interesting opportunities here for sure. I want to see which card this is. Yeah, it's the PSA 9. Okay, that's come down to $280, and that has been as high as $400 in a 9. That Scottie Pippen rookie card in a PSA 9. But you see guys, Klay Thompson, Saquon Barkley. This is in the last 7 days. So you've seen some of these cards just kind of move downward. Chris Middleton just won a championship in his card, and whatever these 2 cards are. His Prism base went down 14. Okay. And then his silver, it looks like there wasn't a sale or there's one sale. Okay. Cameron Johnson moving down. Jamal Murray's been moving down with his injury. Markelle Fultz. You see, a lot of good players. Oh, and the man himself, the man of the hour, has cards that are even moving down as well. Now, this is over the last 7 days. So this is base Prism in a 9, down 35%. This is kind of the people taking a breath after the NBA ends. And here we are. Giannis not getting the love. Although maybe he had a little bit of a movement upward leading up to them winning. And then this is kind of a little bit of a letdown afterward. There you go. Russell Wilson, Jared Goff. What has been moving upward over the last 7 days? PJ Washington, 87%. My man Alvin Kamara. Paul Pierce stuff moving up. Dirk. Colin Kaepernick. Julio Jones. Jaylen Brown, you know, not huge movement here. I mean, this is big movement if you're looking at comparing it to, I guess, traditional investments, but in the card world, 10% is fairly small, whether it be going up and down, which kind of represents somewhat of a flat market right now. You know, when you look at 5, 6, 7, 8% over the last 7 days, it represents a flat card market from my point of view. So interesting. What's up the most over the last 365 days? Let's see if we can look at that one. Josh Allen, 184%. Matthew Stafford, 157% for the cards they have in their database, but I'm sure they have a lot of the main ones. Yeah, 2009 Topps Chrome Refractor. Man, the Topps Chrome Refractor and a PSA 9 up 669% over the last year. Wow. That is wild. Okay, so Stafford, Derrick Henry, Warren Moon. I've been trying to get this card in. Well, I got this card in an 8 because the 9 has been escaping me. Still looking for that 85 Topps Moon and a PSA 9. Jim Kelly up 100%. 113%, but only, it looks like it's only one. Oh no, it's one card. A lot of sales though. That one has, gosh, man, that 80, I assume that's an 87 Topps rookie card. Yeah, and a 9. Man. James Worthy, Reggie White, Baker, Barry Sanders. This is over the last 365 days. A lot of 80s football stuff. Randall Cunningham, rookie, I assume, and a 9. Yeah. A lot of that stuff moved up, and then it did kind of retrace back, but it's still retraced back quite a bit higher than where it was a year ago. And I think that's what we're seeing here with a lot of these 80s and 90s stars, LaDainian Tomlinson. You know, you got the Drexlers and the Mullins. You know, these are all where they got a big bounce, and then they've come back down, but it's still quite a bit more than where they were. And that's what we're seeing with a lot of this stuff. So this is interesting. This is something I like to play around with market movers. It gives me kind of some added visuals. Very quickly gives me the ability to see a lot of different players. And that way, if a player looks interesting, it can be like, okay, well, if this is up 150%, maybe I should sell Josh Allen cards. I don't own any Josh Allen rookie cards, but you know, it's one way to use the tool. It's a way to see like very quickly, oh, okay, over the last 7 days, we've seen, you know, PJ Washington's up 87%. Maybe I should be moving these. Or, you know, it kind of gives you ideas as to, you know, if that's not necessarily a player that you're holding long term, that could be a possible selling opportunity for you. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining me here today. I appreciate it. I am going to be at the National tomorrow. So I will be back on, of course, with more content, as you probably figured. But I thought this would be a good one to just kind of throw in there before we get to the show. If you do want to try out Market Movers, as I mentioned before I started the video, we do have a affiliate link in the video description. And then we also have a Card Ladder as well, Card Ladder affiliate link. I like using both tools for different reasons. They both offer me value. And so we've got both options there if you want to check them out. And of course, if you don't like it, you can always cancel. That's the beauty. All right, guys, I will talk to you later. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I'll see you later.